Oh my gosh, we are here. We've had a little bit of sound technology issues. If you're waiting for me, thank you for being here. I appreciate that. I took 15 minutes of your time and I apologize, but I can promise you we have amazing, amazing flowers to share today, and I'll just have to design twice as fast so that we can get it all in. Be sure and let us know if you can hear, because we are having technology issues. Thank God Parker is here and he's put in every little thing he can to create a Band-Aid so that we can go ahead and go live. We've got Marisa and Carolyn here to greet you, and online we have Susie and Caledonia, and we have you. I already poured my coffee because I was freaking out, so I had to do something. So I poured my coffee, I've been drinking some Perrier, and now let's just get started designing. If you can, type in there and let us know how the sound is, because I'm trying to project loudly, but if it's making it sound like I'm yelling at you, I could quit projecting quite so much. If I need to project more, poor people in here will be going deaf, but hopefully I can make sure that you can hear. We're talking flowers today. We've got amazing autumn and everyday flowers from Florabundance.com and GardenRosesDirect.com. And you'll be seeing a lot of these flowers in upcoming videos. We've got some great things to share with you. Thought I would start with just showing you a few of the things that they have, because they have so much. And one of the things that students tell me frequently is they have trouble getting flowers. The supply chain isn't working well for them, and they don't get the beautiful things that you see us use. Well, Florabundance ships all over the United States. Those of you outside of the United States, not so good. But for the US, they can ship to you anywhere. And look at that anemone. Isn't that beautiful? Absolutely gorgeous. And I thought, well, that would be a pretty one to start with. So I'll just give it a cut, set it into one of the vases here. And then anthurium, another absolute beauty. Giving it a cut and setting it in place. Having access to beautiful flowers is part of the battle. As a florist, we're always on the hunt for gorgeous flowers that are dependable, high quality. And with Florabundance, you've got them. Another anemone over here. Then look at these. It's gomprina. And it picks up that sort of wildflower look, something a little bit more rustic. And the beauty of today, it's now acceptable to combine wildflowers, temperate things, with exotics. It's a little bit tall for that. Let's put it over here. I'm going to cut it down a little bit. You can mix flowers that we never used to mix, and it's considered to be okay now, which I think is such a privilege. So gomprina, anthurium, anemone, all tucked in together. And focusing on the white, because I thought with the gold container would be truly lovely. Astrantia, a nice texture.
They're saying that they hear you perfectly, Leanne.
Oh, thank goodness. Thanks for letting us know. Let me know if I get too loud, because I could quit yelling. But as long as you can hear me, that's what's most important. I'm going to shorten this down a little bit more, because I just want to tuck the astrantia in, like so. The thing with the Florabundance site is you can sort things by color. So if you're looking for white flowers, you can sort it by white. If you're looking for autumn flowers, you can sort it by season. It's an updated website. It's all brand new, so that you can get exactly what you're looking for. And you can see how beautiful this all is. I've got so many different things that I can tuck in. Ooh, you know what would be fun? One spectacular creamy white garden rose. Marisa, do you know what variety this is?
Yes.
It's super fragrant. Oh my gosh.
That one is White Ashley, and even on the label it says opens fully.
White Ashley opens fully. Is that not the best? Now that is from GardenRosesDirect.com. And it just, oh, I'm going to shorten it a little bit so it nestles right on the lip of that vase. So I don't want it to cover up the anthurium. That way it all still shows. Then look at these grasses, a little fuzzy, like bunny tails. It's not bunny tail grass, but oh, I love it. I'm just tucking that in, getting a little bit of texture over here.
Leanne, Janie says, less projection. I can hear you all the way over here. I live in Walla Walla.
I love it. Well, then I'll be easy on my throat and I'll quit projecting quite so much. So if it turns out that you can't hear me, speak up, let us know, and I'll start projecting again. But I can tell you my throat's thankful if I don't have to project quite so much, because that was loud. That was a lot of noise coming out of my mouth. Veronica, is that fun? Tucking that in, letting it just kind of be wild. Look at the curvature on that one. So you can see, working with Florabundance, you can get access to materials that maybe you can't in your local area. And it gives you the ability to have just beautiful things that all work together, and combining temperate with exotic, wild looking with very luxurious, texture and fragrance. It all works together perfectly. So now we've got it started and we know that you can hear me. I'm going to set this aside and let's start doing some more designing. So this was just to introduce you to some of the things that you might be seeing on the Florabundance site, and some of the things you might be seeing in videos in the future, because I'll be using a lot of these things. What's going on out there, Carolyn and Marisa?
Well, I'm gonna give a shout out to Celine. She just finished her first day working at a local flower farm / florist. She used her elements and principles of the design in some bridesmaids bouquets today.
Oh, grand. Congratulations, Celine. Isn't it wonderful when you just get started? It's so exciting. And then it's scary because you're like, oh, what if I do something wrong? But if you always resort back to elements and principles, then you should be fine. That's good. Okay? Mahogany, burgundy, deep, intense anthurium. Aren't they great? I'm going to mold them a little bit. Now that we're finally getting live going here and we're pulling it together, you might tag a friend, share this video out. If you can, go ahead and share it so people know that we made it live, because I bet you some people came and thought it wasn't going to happen, and so they left and they're going to be so disappointed. So if I could ask a favor, share this video, spread the word, let them know that we are live, that we do have amazing, amazing flowers, and that they should come join us. I would appreciate that. And then, of course, introduce yourself, add your tulip if you're part of the Tulip Peoples, and start introducing yourselves to each other. Carolyn, what else you got there?
I need to let you know that Leo Bion, is that how you pronounce it, is with us today on YouTube.
Wonderful. Hello there. I'm so glad you joined us. That's grand. Welcome to the Floral Design Institute world, where we have the weekly collaboration. Marisa, what's going on in your world?
Okay, well, over here on Facebook, I finally cut up over here. Okay, so we have Carl and Jim, and since we're a little bit late, John wants to know if we're able to go to 2 hours today. And we have Gayla, Egri, Mary, Cherie, Therese, Janet, Tammy, Lori, who's tuning in on vacation, Beatrice, Nicole, Gracie, Michi, Penny, Julie, Roger, Nikki, Olga, Nathan, Andrea, Joe, and Scott. And let's all give Vega a huge happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Vega. I saw that and I thought, oh, I wonder if we'll get to see her today or if she'll be too busy celebrating her birthday. I'm pretty glad that you joined us. So happy birthday, Vega. And thanks to all of you that are joining us today. And thanks for being patient as we had our little sound glitch. because now we're happy to be with you, but that was a little scary there for a while. I wasn't sure if we were gonna make it. Pomegranate, isn't that beautiful? We can take down some of the leaves. I think it's a little too heavy. So I'm gonna prune out right here and remove that. And then give it a cut and a break. And I love the way this is going to just go ahead and hang over the vessel. Finding the perfect hole for it. There we go. Letting it drop down. Picking up the color of the anthurium. Turning it so you can see the faces there. I have one more. Maybe letting this one come up a little higher. Then I can go back and add the foliage. And then my favorite part, when I was looking at these things today, deciding what I wanted to create, I found these ranunculus. Are those exquisite? I mean, those just make my heart sing. Florabundance, you outdid yourself with so many amazing flowers this time. Thank you so much. It made it easy to put my plans together and decide what I wanted to do because everything was just perfect. It all came in yesterday, so we hydrated it ahead of time. Marisa went through and quick dipped everything, get all a fresh cut, set it in water to hydrate completely so that then today we could go ahead and use it. The Garden Roses Direct actually came in on Monday, so they had 2 days to get hydrated and start opening because they come in so fresh that they need that little extra time to open or they're so tight. Oh my gosh, and so it's nice to have that little extra. And one of the pomegranates broke off, so I'm just gonna set it down with the others. What do you think? Do you like that? Simple, but yet so effective. I know Marisa was already saying she had dibs for taking this one home. I don't know, I might make dibs on it too. It's like, oh, we might have to fight over this one because it is such a beauty. Container is one that I collected long time ago. I think I actually purchased it at an Asian grocery, but you can always find unique and interesting containers. Just gotta keep looking for them.
The ranunculus almost read like velvet on camera.
You know, they look like velvet in real life. I mean, doesn't that look like a Christmas dress? You know, like you would be all in velvet, ready for a party. Oh, delicious.
Oh, and I have a question from Sheree that is asking you, however, I think that Tulip People should answer this. She's asking if Leanne is using shades.
Okay, so good question. Let's go back to that. What is my color harmony? And is it a shade? How funny, because, you know, both of the things that I've done so far have the same color harmony. So there's your hint. So what is my color harmony? And did I work with shade? Using a positive definition of shade. Move things around, get started on another one. We've got so much I want to do today and we've got to cram it all in.
So Jim's saying because you and I are going to be fighting over those two arrangements, if there's going to be any pool noodles involved in that.
Oh my gosh, Carolyn got the pool noodles all ready for the students, so we don't have those.
Oh, I found a couple left over.
Oh dear, we could all be in trouble. Oh my gosh. This is a new vessel I bought just the other day. I just thought it was a beautiful rose gold, and with these flowers, I thought, how much better would that be? Oh my gosh. I believe it's accent decor. More coffee for me, some water in the vessel.
And Leanne, while you're doing that, a shout out to a few of the first timers. We have Lacey, who's with us, joining us for the first time live. And we also have Cindy, who's also an online student of ours, who was able to join. as well as Lisa, and she keeps seeing all these tulips and wants to know what these tulips are.
So welcome to the first timers. Everybody out there in Facebook land and YouTube land, if you see a first timer, welcome them, greet them, get to know them. First timers, be sure to let us know where you're from, because you might discover that there's a fellow tulip someplace else. And why the tulips? Tulips are our symbol for everyone that is a student, a graduate, or a member of the Flower Lovers Club. And these are our people. This is our support group. This is our therapy to be together and to collaborate and to show that we're all part of the group. We post the tulip. And if you can't find it, it's in your emoji keyboard, or let us know. We can send you one. You can just copy it and paste it in whenever you want to. What else is going on?
Yes, both Robin and Elaine came up with the correct color harmony for the last two arrangements. They said monochromatic. Then Elaine expanded and said that the Anthurium one is a shade of the red family.
Excellent. So that is so true. They were both monochromatic. Definition, think back to basic floral design, your color theory lecture, and if you need to go back and look at your lessons, it's in there. But monochromatic, mono meaning one, chroma, color, tints, tones, and shades of one color. Then, with the Anthurium, I was working primarily with shades. And a shade is taking a hue and darkening it with the addition of black. So whoever, you people that guessed that, you are so correct. Thought for this one, I would do a hand tie. And I decided to go a little more instruction on this because we get a lot of calls with, how do I do this? I'm not getting my hand tie to look right. And a lot of people go, well, I just can't do it. I can't do it. And they get frustrated. And I'll be honest, when I first started hand ties, I couldn't do them. I couldn't do them at all. I was just awful at it. And I took a class in the 80s to learn how to make a hand tie. And then I went home and I couldn't do it. And I decided, well, my customers don't really want a hand tie anyway. So then fast forward, later 80s, I took another class, how to do a hand tie. Notice how I'm removing all the leaves, making sure there's no thorns on here. And now it looks like I have really tough hands. The reality is these have already had the thorns mostly removed. So I'm not just being this iron-handed woman. But anyway, so later 80s, I took another class. I went back to my flower shop, trying to do it, couldn't do it. And so I had every excuse. Oh, my hand is too little. Oh, la la la. I could tell you every reason why I could not make a hand tie. But it was simply I couldn't make it, not because my hand was too little. That was not the right excuse. So then fast forward a little bit longer, I took another class. And this particular class was taught by someone who I didn't really like very much. In fact, you could say I didn't really like this person at all. And I thought, my gosh, if they can do it, I can do it better. So I went back home to my flower shop and hid in my back room with all these flowers, and I just kept practicing over and over and over and over until I could do it. And that's what it takes. It just takes practicing over and over and over. Organization is a big part. I now have all the leaves removed. I cleared it out so that it's ready. I think I've got everything I want to use in this one. Maybe a little bit of eucalyptus. That could be fun. But getting your things done ahead of time before you try to do any work is very, very, very important. If you try to do it as you're working, it doesn't work very well. You just get stuck and all of a sudden you give up. So getting things set like this before you begin is a big deal. I find when you're learning, if you work with rounder flowers like this, it works easier as you're learning. As everything's kind of the same, then as you get more comfortable, then start adding in line flowers and similar flowers and such. But if you work with similar flowers, I find it works a little better at the beginning. Then another tip is if you start with things very, very, very close in your hand, very close. Don't spread it out. Don't hold it down here. Hold it clear up at the top and hold it loosely. Then, as you put things into your hand, keep holding it up close to the top. And as you add flowers, bring them in close and turn and bring it in close and turn and close. But don't try to spread it out at the beginning. Later you can practice spreading it out more and you'll be able to. But when you're first learning, I think just tucking it in really close like this makes it a little bit easier. I had the opportunity in the later 90s to do some work with the Seattle Pike Place Farmers Market. They have so many flower farmers there. And they hired me to come in and do some work with the farmers to help them know how they could do more and provide things for their customers. And that's when I realized the size of your hand does not matter at all. So when you say, oh, my hand is too small, I say no. I don't believe you. That's not true. Because when I was working with them, there was a little girl. She was probably 6 years old. Her name was Carolyn. So think about a hand of a 6-year-old, and she could make a hand tie better than anybody. And it was because she grew up with it, and she just knew that this is how you do it. See how I've got it just mounding around, and I just keep going? Marisa, Carolyn, what else is going on?
Well, Leanne, I'd like to share, when I was learning how to do these, my manager used to make me go home with stems every night and do it at home and bring it back to work, and it took weeks to finally get it correct. But Ike over here on Facebook has a question about flower school and wants to know if there's an age requirement.
To come to the classroom and join us in the Learning Center, you have to be 16. You could be 60, you could be 106, but you have to be at least 16 to come to the classroom. If you study from home, you can be younger. That's not a problem. So a lot of it depends on your maturity because it is a self-paced adult course. You're not going to have mom to take care of you. We're all here to offer our guidance, but you have to take the initiative. So if you're at least 16, you can join us in the Learning Center. If you're under 16, you can study from home. Either way, you can do something you love with flowers, which is pretty grand. So now I've got this started. And I've just kept it very, very, very compact. And I'm going to need to bring in a collar of wax flower because this will help support all my flower stems to make sure that they stay looking fresh and perky. And I can turn their head so they look the right direction. What else is going while I keep good?
I'm sorry, we're getting lots of questions on what kind of flowers you're using. They're so beautiful.
So the garden rose is from GardenRosesDirect, and it's Princess Aiko, and it opens beautifully. It's got a very, very soft fragrance. It's not as fragrant as the other one. Then these are a combination of dahlias and chrysanthemums. I've got both in here, dahlias and chrysanthemums. Chrysanthemum is the one that's a little bit paler. The dahlia is a little more coral. So it's dahlia, chrysanthemum, Princess Ayako, and wax flower. And then the little bit of foliage that I added in is eucalyptus. And I think that's everything that I put up here on the table with me. I think I got it all in there. When you take flower school, we give you your lessons like this, and then we give you a recipe so that you can start learning to write your own recipes. But we don't require you to use our recipe. You can substitute the flowers that you like that's available in your area, so you don't have to work with exactly what we did, which of course makes it so much more fun because you can pick the materials that you like to work with. So now I did this in a very flat, rounded style. So it's a little more contemporary rather than doming it up and round. It's very concave and flat, and I can adjust a little bit. That one's a little tall to get him a little flatter in there. And I can always go in and pull up just a little bit. So you can adjust once you have everything where you want it. You can go back and do a little adjusting. Then I can tie this off using a bit of bind wire. But I encourage you, if you're struggling with the hand tie, do it over and over and over again. If you really, really, really want to challenge yourself, use hyacinth stakes, just plain bare sticks, and practice spiraling them. That's hard. It's very hard, but it's a good way to see if you've got that spiral down and under control. Now, then giving everything a cut. I just want to say thank you again for hanging in there with our late start. I apologize for that, and I so appreciate the fact that you're here with us and that you hung it out. If you wouldn't mind, if you didn't do so already, share this video out to let people know we made it, invite them to come join us so that everybody knows that, okay, it did happen, we did go live. So this will just set right in. I think I can cut it down a little bit shorter yet. I think a little bit too tall. There we go. And you can see by doing the round faces in a flat round design, it gives it a more contemporary look, a little bit different vibe, and it may be a little easier for you as you're learning than to do the fuller one like we teach in class. It's a good way to start here. Now, I can leave it here, or look what happens if I undo it. So I clipped it and just let it relax. Doesn't that look beautiful? And it just nestles right in. Turn it. Oh, you know what I need to do? We'll do this for you because I know that you would like this. So I've got my turntable. And I can just adjust a little bit because since I untied it, it's loose enough that I can just adjust, slide it in, make sure everything's exactly where I want it to be. This head is looking down, so I can just turn him so his head looks up. There we go. And then I've got a beautiful hand tie ready to deliver. Wouldn't that make a perfect gift for someone? Soft fragrance. So it's dahlias. The dahlia is this one, the darker. Chrysanthemum, the lighter. And then Princess Ayako garden roses, wax flower, little eucalyptus, everything from Florabundance and GardenRosesDirect. So there you go. Set that one down. Get ready for another fun one.
Leanne, while you're gathering your things, I'm getting a couple comments on the wax flower. They haven't seen that color before, and on Roxy's phone, it's reading more orangey rust. What color is that?
You know, and it's almost a blended color. It's got a little bit of a coral and a little bit of a pink, and it just transitions. And I believe it's natural. I don't think it's dyed, but it does mutate between pink and coral. And it's that more complex hue that's not really true. And this is the first year I've seen it regularly available. So I think it is a newer color that they've started growing commercially. And it is beautiful. It is lovely.
Leanne, John and Scott are talking about those 2 roses that you had in your arrangement there and how they were being so naughty.
There are days that you just go, flowers, really don't do that to me. You're being naughty today. Yeah, that happens. Okay. Another interesting container. This was gifted to me years ago by a woman that had collected different vessels from all over the world. I have no idea where it came from, but I like it. It's ceramic, it's watertight. I put some floral netting on the inside, and then I can just go ahead and add water.
Anyone that's seen Beetlejuice, that one reminds me of one of the sculptures that comes alive at dinner time.
Oh, dear.
Every time I know, it's such a cool vase.
So Beetlejuice, eh?
Yes. I'll send you a picture of it.
Okay, you do that. I don't think I've ever seen Beetlejuice.
Oh, it's really good.
On trend with pampas grass. I can't tell you how many times people say, where do I get pampas grass? Where do I get pampas grass? You get pampas grass at Florabundance. They generally always have it. So, and if they don't, they can help you find it. But pampas grass from Florabundance, and it's great. Then people always ask, how do you keep it from shedding? It does shed. This is really fresh, so it's not shedding yet. But as it starts to dry, it will shed. That's the nature of the beast. They all do that. You can't avoid it. But you can lessen it. And the trick to lessening it is to use hairspray. Hairspray or petal proofer, just to lock all those little hairs together and keep it from shedding. Just kind of setting that in and letting it do its own thing. Isn't that fun? I love it. It's just perfect. Now, we'll see how many of these fall off before I get done. That's always sort of the trauma, because some will. These are crab apples. Now, I remove the leaves because the leaves are never very pretty, and I like just the bare wood, and I like the apples to show a little better. And yes, this was Florabundance too. Everything you see here came from them. It's just easier for us to always get everything from the same place, because then I know that I can rely on the quality. I know that things are going to coordinate, and I know it's going to get here. It's going to arrive on time. All the things that you need when you're a professional florist, you don't want to be worrying about your supplier. And so it just makes it easier for me to do it all at the same time. Look at that. Aren't those just the best? I love that. So then determining which way I want it to be, I think I want it that way. Yep, that's where it's going to go. And then determining how long.
So Leanne, with a vase like this, would this be something that would be more for personal use or something that you would sell and deliver?
It is deliverable. You would have to put it in a box, but it would definitely be deliverable. And people are starting to invest in vases for keepsakes now more often than they used to, because people are wanting flowers in their home on a regular basis. So if you have a flower shop, you could have interesting vessels that you sell, and then the first time they get flowers, just let them know. Bring the vessel back and we can refill it with flowers whenever you'd like. But it can become a used item over and over and over and over again, and it gives them something that's beautiful, that they can see that added value of knowing they can reuse it. So it could be just for yourself in a personal collection for your home, or it could be a sale item that you are selling to a customer to do flowers as a gift. Get that one to stand straight up. There we go. Now, what else to put in this? I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just so much fun with just this. It's kind of Ichabana-ish, but we got to do more. We can't stop here. Isn't that beautiful? Copper Banksia. And that intensity of color, it's just grand. And they're going to dry and be equally as wonderful. So that makes this design a very, very long-lasting arrangement. Now the apples will die, but the branch will still stay, so you could pick the apples off. The pampas is going to stay. The Banksia is going to stay. So this is a design that you also could bill as just being a very, very long-lasting investment for the home. And everybody loves flowers that are going to last well for them, because then they feel like they got value for their dollar. Teach that in floral design, because customers need value or they're not going to keep buying from you. So you've got to be constantly thinking about them. So how does that read on camera, Parker? Does it work pretty well?
I think it was great.
Anything I need to move?
It needs a bit, it needs more.
Yeah.
More. It does need more.
Well, I got lots more too. So look at this. Heart of Gold. It's a beautiful rose, kind of that mustardy yellow and almost a tinge of orange. It's called Heart of Gold. Let's set that in here. Get some brightness and then come out a little more. I'm leaving the guard petals on this just because I like the way it looks so natural and gardeny, but it's a choice that you can make. Maybe you don't like the guard petals, you can always take them off. Some grasses, giving a little mimic from the pampas grass, but with a different style coming out to the side. And again. I cannot wait to work on videos with these flowers. It's going to be so much fun. You'll be able to see that when they come out on Mondays coming up this autumn. You'll see more of these flowers in our weekly videos.
And so many people are still commenting on that vase. They just love it. But Olga has a really great question for this particular vase. Would you measure this with the Fibonacci, using the Fibonacci for the height only, or would you also do it for the width as well?
I would probably work with the height. And then the biggest thing I would be worried about constantly is not to lose the vessel. You know, don't drape so many things over it that you can't even see it anymore, because that's so much of the beauty, is just how the materials relate to the container. And so as much as you do want to break the line of the container, you do want to unify it, you don't want to conceal it or hide it in any way or shape. So always taking that time to leave it showing. Now I should have left my round turntable up here so you can see, because it looks good from all sides. Then, a couple more things. Florabundance does quite a bit with dried materials too. And these bunny tails in this mustard color, pretty perfect for it. So letting them come up with the mustard yellow roses.
Leanne, they cannot stop without the vase.
It is a fun vase, and it takes a little while to get used to using it because it makes you go, huh, what do I want to do with this? How do I use this? And then all of a sudden it starts speaking to you, and it's perfect. Again, if you check, a lot of Asian grocery stores have floral arranging vessels, and they have interesting, unique things like this. Also, if you go to like a local craft fair or street fair, in fact, oh my gosh, there was one just here in the city that I went to last Friday, I think it was, and they had the most beautiful ceramic arrangement vessels. They were just handmade, hand-thrown pottery that they'd actually slumped the top a bit. Oh, I didn't buy one, but I got their card, and I'm gonna go back and get one from them because that day I was out walking and I didn't want to have to carry it around with me, but it was so beautiful. So start challenging yourself to look for these things that have unique shapes, unique characteristics, so that you can add them to your collection. And you could then, for corporate clients, I mean, maybe it's one that you only have one of, but for a corporate client, you could rent it to them, deliver their flowers on Monday. Then when you go back the next Monday, trade that container out, bring it back, use it for another client, so that you can use things that maybe you wouldn't use otherwise, and it really all kind of fits together. So now you can see I've just kind of let it get wild and crazy. Added in the grasses.
Leanne, a lot of the people over here on Facebook are commenting about how the bunny tails just really made that, just bring it all together.
Doesn't it though? And you know, I need a few more on this side. You see that hole there? It needs the bunny tails. So stepping over here to my little dried collection. Which is funny, because I was just looking at the drieds the other day and going, gosh, I gotta get those put back out on the shelves in the warehouse. I'm tired of them being in the studio. Let's get them out into the shelves. And now here, I needed them, so I think I'm glad I didn't take them out of the studio right now. They'll go out of the studio later because I want the space for something else. But it is kind of fun how you just know that you gotta have them, and they are perfect. Okay, so just tucking those down in here tightly.
Well, Valerie mentioned that she went to her local Potter's Guild show and bought several vessels that had flower frogs built in them.
Isn't that the coolest when they already have the frog in it? That is just, makes it so convenient. And when you do those pottery shows, you can find some of the most interesting things. And in the springtime when they have garden shows, that's another time that's really good. This preserved fern, isn't that beautiful? It's preserved and dyed, and it's just the right color. Now I'm saving these little bits because it's too pretty to throw away. I'm not sure what I'll do with it, but I know I'm going to need it. And so I'm saving that, and then just adding this in.
Yeah, when I was opening that up out of the bag, a lot of the tips were broken, and like you said, they're so pretty, I couldn't throw them away either.
No, I'm sure that, you know, they would be so pretty spray glued onto a clay pot for the autumn. You could do so many things with them. You could, if you had the time and energy, wire them and then set them down into an arrangement. They'd be perfect for gluing into a wrist corsage or a boutonniere. Oh, they would be, next week, well, I can't tell you about it yet. You'll love the video next week, and it would be perfect in there. It's already done, so you won't see that, but they would be so lovely in that video. So when you see your Monday video, think about these. They would be so lovely, lovely, lovely.
I think I need those.
Oh, I bet you do. They're so your color.
I'm thinking floral couture.
Yeah. It is perfect, isn't it? So you can see just adding in interesting materials. Now, another question that I frequently hear, I'm going to straighten this up a little bit, from our students, our graduates, from you possibly, is how do you get a great assortment of things? How do you find all these different things? I can't get all these different things. The beauty of Florabundance is that you can buy one bunch of each item. You don't have to buy a box of something. You can get one bunch of bunny tails, one bunch of preserved fern, one bunch of grasses, one bunch of the crab apples. And that's what I did. Everything is just one bunch. So you can see I have a huge variety of things, but it's all just one bunch of each. And that gives me the ability to do things that I wouldn't be able to otherwise, because I wouldn't have enough variety to pull it all together. So, too much fun. I'm going to stop there. Just kind of recap. So we did the interesting container, saving my lovely things, then did the hand tie, and talked about how holding it really tight and close allows you to get a nice rounded form. And for a little different vibe, rather than doming it, keeping it flat gives it a whole different look. It works best if you have round, fat flowers. Flat, fat flowers. How do I say that fast? Flat, fat, round flowers. Because it gives it a more blousy look. So chrysanthemums, dahlias, garden roses, zinnias would work, carnations would work. But think of that rounded form. Then the fun one with the shades, with pomegranate, ranunculus, and anthurium. Set that one by it too. And then where I started, just to show you how diverse the materials could be, the specimen designing. So just one of these, one of those, and one of those, and one of these, and this and that, so that you don't have to have a whole lot of anything. I had one white anthurium. That's all I had. But it worked perfect in here. So these are the things you can do as you start exploring the different flowers available to you. Again, thanks for waiting for us today. That was kind of a heart-stopping time as we're all sitting here in the studio going, oh my gosh, how do we get the sound? And thank goodness I didn't have to shout through the whole thing, because I probably would have lost my voice by then. So I'm glad that you could hear me without shouting. Again, thank you to you for joining us. Next week shall be better, I promise. It'll be Teacher Carolyn here, and she'll be sharing a variety of different centerpiece options for the autumn wedding season. So we're transitioning from summertime to autumn as we all get ready for back to school. If you're ready for back to school, join us online or in the classroom. Yes, we're doing in person. We have all the COVID protocols for safety going, and it's all going to be fine. Or join us online, study at home with the convenience of full teacher support and doing it in your pajamas at whatever time you want to. On that note, I went a little long, but then we started a little late, so that's just the way it is. But again, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week as we all get together and do something we love. Bye for now.